Okay, so we were discussing dynamic and static web pages. So dynamic web page is such a page or such HTML whose content is different for different people, for different locations, okay, based on the user query. And static pages are like this, that when as many times you display that page, the content is still the same. The content and the style is still the same. Okay, it doesn't changes. So the main focus was to how to make it dynamic. So the history is something like this, that from 1997 until 2001, the HTML was HTML 4.0 and CSS was CSS3. So this HTML was a very basic HTML, okay, and the CSS was also very basic CSS, especially focusing on the text formatting, okay, and yeah. So next stage of HTML and CSS from 2001 until 2006, it became XHTML. You see, not the point, the letter X. The XHTML was basically focused to make dynamic. Okay, the X is like a variable type of HTML. So how to make it dynamic, and the CSS also improved. It became CSS2. Okay, so this journey was continued until 2007 until now. In 2007, HTML5 was introduced and CSS3 were introduced. So actually, these two invention changed the world a lot. HTML5 and CSS3 give a totally new look to the internet. Okay, and today we will try to cover really HTML5 and CSS3 have a lot of power. They can do many things. Okay, so what are the okay, these few things in CSS is in especially in CSS3, you will see many times the word dash MOS. So these are a few words which are browser specific. Actually, in every browser there is a special a parser, okay, and the renderer in every browser. So some browser have different uh, mm, parser and different renderer. So therefore they have different syntax and different keywords also. So meaning to say, like for example, if you want to run some of the animation in Mozilla, then you will have to specify the dash moz. This is actually a kit. Okay, kit, K-I-T, kit means that they have defined a web kit for Mozilla and to cover all the animation and CSS3 stuff inside Mozilla. But for Safari and Chrome is a web kit. Okay, most of the time we will use WebKit, and majority of the professionals are using WebKit and Moz because these three are the two major browsers. For Opera, negative dash O, and for Internet Explorer, dash MS. Just to know that wherever you see these words, it means our target is some specific browser. Okay, next one. So what's the big deal about CSS3? What CSS3 can do and what CSS3 provide us? Okay, CSS3 did what? CSS3 introduced new selectors. I hope that you still remember selector means tag. Okay, like H1, P, body, head, all these are tags. So CSS3 introduced new tags. For example, element dash element. It means they introduce a new way of arranging elements. This, if you write in this style, it means if one element become child of another element, sorry, sibling of another element. Okay, so in that way, it means if they have same parents. Okay, another one. This one is another selector like attribute and the caret sign. The caret sign, hopefully, you can see the caret sign is this one. Okay, the caret sign. This caret sign show the start of something, and actually it is too much used in irregular expressions. You will study later on irregular expressions. So it means that any HTML tag whose attribute starts from some specific value. Okay, any attribute who start from some, for example, input type equal to text. So the type is attribute, and if you specify text, so meaning to say that the attribute value starts from text. So this that CSS rules will apply on that one. Next one, the dollar sign show the end of the property, that any element which whose property ends with this value. This one, asterisk, means which contain many things. If this value present in the property anywhere, maybe at the start, maybe at the beginning, maybe at the end. Okay, so these are the new way of introducing selectors by CSS3. Next one, pseudo element and pseudo classes. We will use today a lot of this. Pseudo element and pseudo classes means that we define something like a child classes. Okay, meaning to say we have one basic class, and then inside that basic class we define another class like a child class, and that one we use the colon element, the colon for that. Okay, we will see in a regular in examples today. I will show you many examples today. You see, like for example, body, first of type, last of type, and only of type. These are means the child. Okay, are children. Okay, like first children will be how, last children will be how, and any child. For example, you see, first child, end child, and last child. So these are pseudo classes, and pseudo classes are really powerful and too much used in CSS3. We have studied about this previously also. Okay, so pseudo classes, like you see nth child, and you can apply some formula like nth of type, and the n is some number, or maybe you can calculate this number by some formula. So you will see when you see the example of this, then hopefully will be clear. But it says that, let's suppose we have the nth child. Maybe if it is confusing for you, let me just quickly give you example. Let's suppose you have ordered list. Okay, ordered list. So ordered list has children or elements. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one is the first one, this one is the second one, this one is the third one. If you want to apply some specific CSS values on the fourth one, then how to specify this? Actually, this power is provided by the nth child. Okay, that you can specify in some tag or some selector the child of that. Another thing, let's suppose you have a body tag. Okay, body. Majority of the tags are children of body tag. So the body tag has a child P. Okay, let's suppose, and child H1. Okay, so the P will be the first child, the H1 will be the second child, let's suppose. So if you want to access third child, let's suppose table, okay, then how to access and how to apply. This is the way that the pseudo classes provide this uh, this skill this option to us to access some specific child of a parent node. Okay, next one is the last n child is almost the same concept. A root one is a root represent the parent node. So parent and mostly HTML or the body is the root um, a root element. Here, like HTML in this case is let's suppose the root one. So meaning to say the top parent tag is the root, but actually the root may be like a second level root and third level root can change for different levels also. Okay, and empty tag, for example, if we have a table and if any cell inside the table don't have value, so how to deal with it? Okay, so the pseudo class can provide a way to specially format or specially deal with empty tags. Next one, target. If you remember, we have studied in a link. In link one, the target we created targets when we were linking document one topic of the document with another topic of the document. We call that one at that time. One was external link, one was internal link. Okay, so the internal links we for that we create a target, and mostly targets are created by ID. Okay, so later on when we create ID and we want to link to that ID, actually that is the target for the href tag. Okay, so the target is using in href tag. I'm not going in too much detail. You see, I have already shared these slides. You can go to each link and you can find example of that. Okay, next one, enable and disable. Enable and disable means that you see, sometime when we create a tag, then we make it enable. So when it is enable, it is user can type in that, user can interact with that, and when we make it disable, then it is dead. Okay, nobody can type in that, nobody can click on that. Okay, so it's not responsive, and this is used too much in form tag, form 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 tag. Okay, for example, input type equal to text blah 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 blah, and at the end you put disable. So that field will be created, but that field will be disabled. And another one, check. The checks are used for radio buttons, for check boxes, and for drop down. Okay, so if you want that some options should be checked by default, then you can use checked. So you see these attributes are introduced by CSS3. Okay, this one not a selector. It means you define a CSS rule you want to apply on different tags, but you want to exclude some specific tags. For example, not P. So this rule should be applied on all HTML tags except paragraph tag. So the not is negating, excluding something from a CSS rule. And selection is like this, that you see in a web page, many times we are selecting the text, okay, the text. So once when the user is selecting a text, what should happen? So actually in this example you can see that we can apply many CSS rules that if someone selects a text inside a page, maybe we can change the background color of that, maybe we can change the text color of that. Okay, we can apply some animation on that. Okay, so these are the different categories of CSS3. Okay, like animation, background, border outline, box color, so many all of these criteria. So I will try to cover majority of this. Okay, uh, so we will start from the animation, and within definition, when we are defining animation for different levels, okay, inside that animation you will see the background color, you will see the border color and box color, and so on. Most of these attributes we will try to use inside the animation. So let's start animation. So first of all, what are CSS animation? Animation lets the element means any tag that you want, and gradually, meaning to say it from time basis. Okay, change means maybe the background color will change, maybe the font color changes, maybe the sizing changes, maybe the movement changes. Okay, so all this defines, all these are called animation. So if any property of some tag changes from time to time, it is called animation. And you can change as many CSS properties. For example, as many CSS properties means you can change color, you can change text, you can change background color, you can change movement, you can change the speed. Many things are possible. As many properties and as many times you want. And to use a CSS animation, you must first specify some keyframes. We will study about this. What are keyframes and how to define. Okay, and the keyframes hold what style the element will have at certain time. Actually, the keyframes specify the timings, that at the beginning the element should be how, then after some specific time, then how it should change, then again how it should change, like the step by step changing in some element. It is defined by the keyframes. We will see it, all these things. Okay, so CSS3 styles, inside the keyframes. Inside these keyframes are actually rules which cause the animation to gradually change from current style to a new style. And then we need to bind, okay, bind the tag we want to animate and the keyframes together. How to bind, I will show you by the name. Okay, let me I think let's go to this example. Okay, so we were talking about animation. So animation, the rule is like that any selector means any HTML tag that you want to animate. For example, in this case, the div. Okay, you want to animate this, so you will have to apply different HTML, but you can ignore these few properties are not related with the animation. These are default or beginning properties of the div. The animation is this one. Animation duration. Sorry, these two. One, animation name. This is compulsory. Okay, whatever name you want to give. And then the animation duration, for how long this div should animate. Okay, and now what are the animation, what to do during the animation, you will have to define keyframes. The word keyframes are reserved word, and not the point. You see this example and this example, this is the name that you have defined. So inside the selector you have given a name to animation, and the same name you will give to the keyframes. This is the binding of the animation and the selector. So inside the animation, inside the keyframes, we are defining timings that from and to. Okay, you see, you can use the word from and to, meaning the from show the beginning and the to show the end of the animation in this case. So at beginning, the background color of this div should be red, and it should change slowly, and at the end, slowly means starting from 0 second, then 1 second, then 2 second, then 3 second. So every second its background will be changing until 4 second, and at the 4 second its background should be yellow. So let's see this one in a browser. Let's check run in default browser. I got now. Is running. Oh, my default browser is Safari. So let's see. Yeah, you see the div we have defined its height and width, so it became like a square, and it changes its color, and the duration was defined only for 4 seconds. So for 4 seconds, let me refresh again. Sorry, refresh again. So it will start from 0 second, from red, and then changes slowly to yellow %. So this is the animation. So let me explain once again that once we are defining animation, then the tag, the selector that we want to apply animation on that, we will define two things in that, like the animation name and the animation duration, and then we will link to the keyframes, and inside the keyframes we will define the step-by-step changes, what changes should be applied. Okay, for example, like this one. Yeah, you see, the from means from you can say 0% also. If you want to say in percentage, then it can be 0% also, and maybe from also, or start. So from means 0% or start, 100% means end or complete. So we can do like this also. You see, like from 0%, the background should be red, and then 25% the background should be yellow, and 50% the background should be blue, and then 100% the background should be green. Okay, let's see the same thing here. I think I have done. Yeah, you see, now started that at 0% red. Let me refresh again. Faster please. Yeah, you see, then blue, then green, and you see when it ends, when the animation ends, then the color go back, the properties of the selector go back to its original one. Original, by original I mean that you see its default its own color, which is defined here, and this is not part of animation. This is its own properties, like width and height and the background color. So these are its own. So when the animation ends, it will turn to its original default values. Okay, we can change this from here in the left one. If you see, from 0% we are changing only one property, which is the background property. We can do like this also, that we can change several things within 0%. For example, background color to red, and let me copy this. Yeah, let me copy this coding, yeah, and paste there, and I think there will be a bit more clear. So let's change. Oh, 0% is this one, 50% is this 50, 25, 50%, 75%, and 100% is this one. Now, in this case, I just want to show you that last time we were just changing the background color, meaning to say at 0% change only one property. But we can actually change several properties, as many properties and as many times that we want. Okay, it's a very powerful tool of the CSS. So you see, we want to change three things, three properties at 0%. The background color is red, and the position from left should be 0, and from top should be 0. So if left 0 and top 0, this will be where? Hello guys, any idea? No idea. Okay, in computer graphics, actually different graphic system uses different graphic coordinates. But in web, the graphic coordinates, the 0 starts from the top left corner. Okay, left 0 and top 0 start from here. Okay, so when you increase the left, okay, let's suppose you are increasing the left, then it will go to the right. Increase, it will effect to the right. And when you change the top, okay, the top from 0, it will go like this. Okay, so this is the left 0 and top 0. And after that, at 25%, the background color yellow, the left to 200 and the top to 0. Meaning to say, the top position is still the same, and we just want to move the div to the right. Then on 25%, left is still 200 and the top changes. So it means the left is the same, it goes here. Okay, and then at 75% become green, and the left and top, and the left and top. So at different timing, we can change different properties. Save these changes and let's refresh the page. Oh, animation name. Oh yes, very good, very good. You see, yeah, animation name example. You see, everything changes. So very good. You see, you are quite smart student. You should help me. So now refresh. Yeah, you see, it's working. That at 0%. Yeah, refresh again because we have defined 5 seconds. Yeah, so it's go to the same positions. Okay, let's go ahead. Okay, let's go ahead. Yeah, as I told you, actually animation is quite interesting. Okay, we can define animation delay. Animation delay is another property which show that when the animation should start. Okay, from beginning, you can provide that. For example, when the page display, okay, and at that time, after displaying the page, how many seconds there should be a delay to start the delay. So you can give any value. Positive value means the page will be loaded first, and then the number of seconds will pass, and then the animation will start. And negative value of the animation delay means that even the animation start before the page is loading. Okay, so we can add animation delay. For example, you see, to the same example, we can add here animation delay. animation animation delay. Okay, and you can specify in seconds, for example 2 seconds. So after 2 seconds, we will see the effect of this animation. Let's start. You see, 2 seconds, wait it, and then start it. I am refreshing again. You see, I refresh, but 1 2 and 2 second wait and then start it. You can test by different values. Okay, let me change by negative value. So negative value means that before loading the page, the animation will already started. Okay, you see, before loading the page, it has already covered the two steps, the left and the down already covered. So the negative value means that it start the animation even before loading the page, which is not a good property actually. We should not, maybe in some cases is okay. Yeah, it depends on situation to situation. Okay. Animation iteration count. Okay, animation iteration count means that how many times this animation should complete. You see, in our example, the animation iteration count by default is 1 time. Starting from 0 0, then go to 0 200, then 200 200, then like completing the square path. So one complete cycle, like starting from the place when it returns to the same place, it is one cycle. So how many times it should be completed? So let's add this property, animation iteration count. Okay. Try to memorize, not memorize. Try to use. Let me reduce this one. It should be okay. 2 2 second. Animation iteration. Yeah, animation iteration count. Okay, animation iteration count. Let's suppose 3. Okay, so 3 times this animation will happen. Refresh the page. 2 seconds with delay. Then you see one cycle, then second cycle, then third cycle. So this is called animation iteration count. Okay, so you can give a value for the animation iteration count. Okay, and you can put infinite also. So if you put the infinite value, then it will continue in infinite. Okay, so it will be forever, like infinite loop. Let me quickly show you this one. First, yeah. So you see 1 2 3, and you see continue 4 and 5 and 7. Let it continue, and we continue our own stuff. Okay, so animation iteration count, different values. Number will be the number of iteration. Infinite represent it will continue forever. Second one, animation direction. You see, in our case, it was like normal, from how to say, from 0 0 to from left to right, then from top to down, and like this. You can do in reverse order also, normal and reverse order, and alternate. In alternate, the animation is played forward first and then backward first, and alternate reverse, the animation will play backward first and then move forward. So you can apply any value. The normal is the default value. Okay, let me just show your animation direction. Let's suppose reverse animation direction. Sorry, animation direction is this one. Okay, animation direction, let's suppose reverse. Okay, so save changes, don't forget to save changes. Yeah, and sometime, yeah, you see it's keep doing the process. So let's refresh. After 2 seconds it will start. You see it started on the reverse. I hope is quite clear. Let's go ahead because I want to cover today many things. Okay, animation direction, these are the possible values. Okay, animation timing function property, this specify the speed of the curve. Okay, how faster it should go, and the animation timing function property can have the following values. For example, is this specify the animation with a slow start, then fast, and then slow at the end. You see, slow, then fast, and then again slow. And linear, specify an animation with the same speed from start to the end. Okay, okay. And ease in, okay, specify the animation with a slow start. And ease out, specify the animation with slow end. Ease in and out, animation slow at the start and at the end. And the Cuban Bezier value, you can actually specify values for that. Okay, so these are the different possible values. I think no need to apply. Please you apply by yourself. I will share later on the coding with you. Okay, so let's go ahead. Next property is animation fill mode. Okay, how the animation should be filled. Do not the CSS animation do not affect an element before the first keyframe. Oh, it means that let's suppose the div has its own property first. Okay, and anything from the background color, if you have defined in the keyframe or any other thing, actually it doesn't apply when the page load first. Okay, when the animation is something like calling the function, when it is called, then it will be applied. Okay, maybe if you don't understand, my point is that any tag, maybe div tag, paragraph tag, anyone, it has some own properties first. Okay, and later on we define some animation for that. So the own properties and the animation should apply how it should overlap the its own properties. First it should display with own properties and then it apply. So these are the different values. For example, none, that is the default value. Animation will not apply any styles and the element before and after. If you have observed at the beginning, the our square was red, and when it was coming back to its original location, then again turned to red. So it means its default values were not changed by the frame. Okay, I think let's just go to this one. Okay, uh, observe the values when it go back to its point. You see red, and then change again, and when you go back again red. So the last value is the red value, and the red value, if you remember, we have defined its own property. So this property, and you see here the property, there are two background properties. How these two background property should be applied. Okay, so for example, at 0%, if you define another color, let me define another one, sign. Okay, this color. So now its original property is red, but at 0% we want this one. So how it should be applied? If you go to the this one and refresh again, you see still at the beginning it was red, and then changes and then changes, and when it go back it will again be the same. So this is called the animation fill mode. Okay, it should be the forward, it should be none. So the forward element will retain the style values that is set by the last keyframe. You see, at the 100%, what is the 100% value that will be retained? Okay. And in the backward frame, the element will get the style value that is set by the first keyframe. Okay, and both, if you want to specify both, so it's up to you. If you don't specify, then is its original one, which is defined in the div tag, let's suppose. Okay, so if you want to overlap, then you define the animation fill mode. You try this one by yourself. Okay, another point that you see, all these things here, let's go to the, yeah, you see, here we define animation name, one thing, animation duration, two, animation delay, three, okay, four, five properties we define at 5 different lines. Okay, you can actually define all these properties in one line. How? Just give a space. Example, you see, then 5 seconds, okay, then a space, then animation delay is again 2 seconds, okay, and the animation count is infinite, okay, and then space reverse, okay. All these things you can define in one line. This is called the short notation, and delete the rest. Okay, it will have the same effect again. Let's refresh. 2 seconds and then start. You see the same thing. So this is the short notation, and most professionals, they are using this one. Note the point that they are using this short notation because nobody want to type many things. So just animation and then animation name, and rest are different values. So you see each value is actually like the parser can understand that infinite is forward, the reverse is forward. Okay, they can link the value with the different properties. Any confusion until now? No confusion? Wow, no yes, no no. So silence means yes. I will consider for myself. Okay, let's continue. So this is a keyframe rule. Yeah. Oh, I think I have completed. This is just I pasted the uh, slides many times. So these are the basic concept of animation. Okay, that any tag that you apply, and let me do like this. That any selector that you want to apply animation on that, you will have to specify that tag. Okay, in our case it is div. Okay, so before the animation word, you see, uh, these are the its own default values. So you will have to define this its own. If you don't want to define any value, then default values will be taken. And after that, animation name, then animation yeah, timing, how many times it should do. Okay, for how long it should do. The animation style, animation delay, animation count, okay, and the direction. So you can define this in a different line also, and in one line also. I can understand what is your problem. Your problem and my problem and everybody's problem is this one, that it is quite difficult to memorize at the beginning these properties: animation, background, you see, animation duration, animation name, animation timing function. So you see, these things you need to actually not memorize. These things comes with experience. If you play more with the examples, you will learn more. You will remember, okay, that what you need to count, what you need to change, and what you need to apply. So its values, the names of the different properties, and its values. This is the most common thing that is a challenge for every beginner programmer. Okay, so the more you play, the more expert you will be. It's exactly like a game. Okay, that if you are playing a game too much, you will be expert in the game too much. If you are not playing, and even though you are a computer expert, you are IT expert, but you have not played that game, you will be very beginner in that game. Are you agree with me? Hello guys. Hello. Is the same, right? Yeah. So if you are agree with me, that then I hope and I will strongly recommend for you that you need to self-study. You need to apply the example. And believe me that from last few days when I was preparing the class, I found a lot of material. Anything that you can just think of, you can find code of that, you can find example of that. In the last few days, I downloaded almost 15 GB of material about this animation, and I studied a lot. Actually, I have that much information in my mind now that I cannot finish even only about CSS. Okay, so this is why I keep telling you that we cannot complete every single thing in a class. So many things you will have to do by self-study. Yes, if in self-study, if you are facing problem, most welcome, you can contact me anytime. CSS and CSS3 has many different aspects, different properties, different rules. So we cannot cover all of them, but I will try to cover most of the rules. So now I have planned like to teach some of the rules in form of examples, in form of some interactive and creative small real world projects. Okay, so let's start with some small examples, and then while we are doing those small examples, then you will realize and you people will learn the different rules and different properties of CSS3. Okay, so let's create a file. Let's suppose in the first project I want to show you how to draw different shapes. For example, hexagon. Okay, hexagon in HTML using only CSS. So hexagon.html. Okay, I will save this one. Okay, I want to create another one with the same name. Let's suppose hexagon hexagon dot css. Okay, so one will be HTML file and one will be CSS file. Okay, so all of you are with me. Hello.
Yes.
Ah,
Yes.
okay, it's really interesting now, quite interesting few projects. I hope you will enjoy. Okay, so in HTML file we will first type the HTML basic building blocks. In Visual Studio Code, when you type the angle brackets and then no, I think without angle brackets, HTML. Yeah, can you see? without angle brackets, I type HTML. So here I have different options. So if I select the HTML5 and click tab, you see everything. Visual Studio Code will write for me. Is it okay? Let me repeat once again. You see, if I just type HTML, okay, then you will have options, and if you select HTML5, so it will give you a ready-made template. And this template, I like this thing too much. This one, the content uh, is content width equal to device width. It is a responsive design, meaning to say if this web page is viewed by computer, by big screen, then the contents will automatically big. If it is viewed by smaller screen, the contents will automatically become smaller. So it changes with the size of the width of the device. Okay, so this point. Now, uh, to link the CSS file with this HTML, we use what tag? Do you remember? No. You see, because you have not practiced. So if you don't practice, you will not remember. So to link a CSS file, external CSS with HTML file, we are using link tag. Okay. So link and then the relationship rel of this HTML and that CSS file is what? It is style sheet. Okay, style sheet. And after that, what type of is it? You can some people are typing like this also, but actually it work without this also. For example, type, okay, and here you type text, okay, slash CSS. Okay. After that, where is the CSS file and what name it has? So that one will be in href. Okay, href. So you see, I created the HTML file and the CSS file both at the same directory. So I will just name the CSS file. Okay, the CSS file name is hexagon.css. Okay, hexagon.css. Okay, and after that, closing the link. So the HTML and the CSS file link together using this tag. And after that, in the body tag, I want to define a div tag. Okay, and later on I will apply yeah, the CSS. So div. Okay, okay. Now if I want to apply some styles and this div tag and that styles are in CSS file, so the best way is the class one. So let's suppose that this div has a class equal to a hexagon. Okay, uh, I will define with the same name, div class equal to hexagon. Now copy the same name. Okay, copy the same name and let's come to the CSS. But a bit before at the beginning, let's add to the CSS file one universal selector asterisk, this one, and here we are typing the margin equal to 0 pixel. Okay, and padding, yeah, margin 0 and maybe 0 pixel. It's a both values are padding equal to 0. You see, these are different values, so maybe pixel. Here also, I think we should stick with the pixel value. Okay, and box sizing is border box. Okay, this is a universal selector. Let's save it go to HTML file, save this one also, and let's see this one in a browser. In Chrome browser, yeah, if you see, nothing is there because we have not defined anything inside the div tag yet. Okay, it is just empty div tag, and we have not applied any CSS on this div tag yet. Okay, let's go to the CSS and define the hexagon class. So to be more safe, copy this name. Okay, that the same class we will define. So when to defining a class in CSS at CSS3, it starts with dot and the name hexagon and then the brackets. In this bracket here we are trying to type the position. Okay, position should be relative. Relative is the best one. Okay, maybe some actually it depends on situation to situation. So the width of this div should be let's suppose 60 pixel. Okay, and the height should be let's suppose 100 pixel, and then the background color should be let's suppose black. And black you can use by name also, you can use by hexa value also. So if you want to use black, then everyone will be 000. Okay, now save this again, save here again. Let's refresh the page that it has some effect. You see, one box is created, but it is not hexagon yet. You see the rectangle, and so now you see we use the position relative. So now the screen don't have anything else. So it considers the screen position now. It starts from 0. Okay. Now our task is to change this rectangle to hexagon. Okay, and we will use CSS for that. Okay, so let's go to CSS again, and in the CSS let's define some styles for the body tag. Okay, body, and in the body we will define a display style, display equal to flex. The flex means flexible. Okay, it means that anything, okay, anything like body is the parent one, all the rest of the tags are child of this. So if the parent have a flexible display, then the child will also have the display flexible, and it can be like best suited for the relative position. Okay, then we need the shape in the center also. Okay, then justify content center. Okay, and align item, we need to change the item also to center, and the minimum height we will define min height of the tab is 100 ph. These are the different values in that. Okay, now save again. Control S. Save. Some problem. Yeah, save. Yeah, sometime. Okay, now let's run again. Refresh the page. You see, due to this style tag, the hexagon came to the center. Okay, now we will add some pseudo classes to our HTML, now our CSS tag, CSS style sheet. So what is pseudo class? Pseudo class is like uh, if we have one class already, then we apply like on its child, or we define something next level properties for that. Okay, so mostly for classes and for objects and for animation, we are defining positions or different states, like state before and state after. So hexagon, we already have the class. So for this one, we are defining a pseudo class. Pseudo class is always used by colon. So it's something like a inheritance. Okay, then before. Okay, before, and then the body. Okay, here we want to define that before, at the beginning, the hexagon should be how. So the content is nothing. Nothing is just maybe, yeah, double quotation also possible, single quotation also possible. Yeah, yeah, content nothing. And then position, here we will use the position absolute because we have already defined the main content. Position absolute, top equal to left, no, wait, I will check your chat. Top equal to 0 pixel. Let me see. For the hexagon.html, do we need to download it as a external? Download me. What do you mean by download? Uh, it the word download is not suitable. I don't know what do you mean, but if you mean like this, okay, that I have hexagon.html. So in this one, I just define a div class, okay, a div tag only. Sorry, div tag, and this div tag has a class, okay, a hexagon. So we are defining different CSS properties related especially to the div, related especially to this class and to the whole page. Like for example, body. Okay. So now we have this HTML tag and we have the hexagon CSS. So to link these two with each other, by linking I mean that whatever you define here, it should apply on the HTML. So how to link? This is the way that this link. Okay. Do you mean by your question like this or something else? Is it clear now? Okay. Okay, so if it is like this, is clear, then we were defining the before situation of the hexagon. That at the beginning it should be how. So top equal to 0, left equal to 0, 0 pixel, okay, uh, and width equal to 0. No, sorry, not equal to, it's colon. Don't confuse our, we are used to with equal to, but it is somehow equal to height equal to 0 pixel, and border right. Yeah. So the hexagon has a border. So we want to define border. You see, you can even control border left, border right, different borders. So it should be 30 pixel, 30 px, okay, space solid, okay, space. We are defining several values in one line, and its color should be black 00. Okay, then border top should be 50 pixel, 50 pixel, solid and transparent. You see, these are the different properties of CSS that CSS introduced, CSS3 introduced, and we can use like this. So it is not only related to div, it is not, it can be applied on any component, any object that you define. So border border bottom, okay, and it should be also 50 pixel and solid and transparent. Okay, let's save this one again and refresh the page. That's what is, you see, no effect. Okay, so that's good, no effect. Actually, I was wondering the same thing. Now let's change to if we want to change this to hexagon style, then look at the left value. The left value, let's change to negative 30. Okay, negative 30. Save again and check. Look at this rectangular shape now. You see, I'm refreshing the page. You see, due to by that negative 30, we change that one to negative 30. So this style changes. We will apply the same concept on the right side also. So if we apply the same concept on the right side also, it will almost become hexagon. Okay, so if we want to apply the same concept on the hexagon, then we will define another pseudo class, and its name will be after. Okay, you see, I just copied the same thing, but the before I'm changing by after. Okay, and see the, yeah, last my mistake was something. You see, by CSS we create a shape. Okay, now we will go through and we will apply some other properties on this hexagon. Okay, and I want to share with you one very important resource that it can help you in your practical life too much. Okay, now if we want to define the same hexagon but using a click path. Click path is one resource which provides you a code, easy code for different shapes. Okay, so that one, I think should I modify the same class, or should yeah, I think we should save time by defining, by using the same text. For example, I will use the same HTML and I will just modify the CSS, okay, to save time. Okay, now the hexagon we should define, let's suppose 100 pixel and the height 110 pixel. Okay, and background color, let's suppose start from a bit gray style, not fully black. We will give a bit value. Okay, uh, let me delete this stuff at the beginning to be clear everything. Okay, like this. Okay, after that we will add some. Let's say refresh now. What's the effect this time? Oh, I think I should not do like this. I should share the examples with you later. Yeah, I think I save already. Okay, next time I will not do like that. Yeah. So you see, I deleted all the stuff. It go to the original 00 position. But if you see here, it has some default tab value, some default padding value. To remove this and it totally go to the borders, then let's define an universal selector, and here we define margin. Okay, margin equal to 0 pixel, and then padding equal to, this is a quite common two things, equal to 0 pixel, and box sizing is equal to border box, semicolon. Now save again and let refresh the page. Yeah, you see the padding and the margin already was reached to absolute 00 locations. After that, we will apply some styles at the body tag. Okay, almost the same thing. Okay, like display equal to flex, semicolon, justify content. I want to bring the thing to center. Okay, align item, center. Okay, and minimum height is 100 width. The VH value is actually like vertical height. The vertical height of this item is 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 relative to its parent. Okay, and it will increase 1% as the parent increases automatically. Okay, now so at this point again, refresh it. It come to the center. Okay, now we want to apply the hexagon stuff, but by applying, if you remember last time we defined the border, left, right, negative, so all this stuff. Now, if there is an easy solution and one very nice resource I want to share with you is, if you type in Google and search for click path or CSS click path. Okay, search in CSS click path. In my case, the first result, okay, it's benefly, yeah, benefly.com and clippy. You see, if you go to this, yeah, a lot of shapes it gives automatically. Okay, and any shape that you select, for example, in our case, like we are interested in a hexagon, you see, it will give you the CSS coding at the bottom. Just copy this CSS code and you will get the shape. Okay. Yeah, it's so nice. This is why I try to go. You people work through a practical things like that. Then you will get some resources also. And yeah, you see, in the hexagon class, I am just pasting this coding. Okay, and now save again and refresh the page. Our page is this one. Yeah, refresh the page. Yeah, you see, hexagon we got automatically without the border box and the right, the top, the so many things that last time we did by ourselves. So this is easy way, and actually this is a very useful resource. As I told you that in last few days, I learned a lot. Okay, I was searching and reading. I'm really like so greedy to go through all the contents and learn more and more and more.